Talk about like the lessons just keep on coming. I made this entire video and did not notice until when I went to edit it, my face was cut off the entire time. Well, anyways, hello, my name is Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Hello from Bruce too. I can't believe that we're at the end of 2023. I mean, what a whirlwind. I will get into a little bit more of a recap of my 2023 plus my manifestation goals in my next video. This video, I thought it would be great to kind of take a look back on this year and go into some lessons learned. Listen, these are not going to be groundbreaking, but it really hit me this year. So we can get into the 23 lessons that finally hit me in the face this year. One of the biggest lessons I learned this year was that you can have everything planned, have an idea of exactly what you want things to be like, and the universe, God, will completely flip the script on you. In 2022, I had kind of reached a boiling point and had to make a decision. Looking back, I still feel like I made the right decision, but when I did make that decision, I thought everything was just going to go up from there, and it really didn't. It actually got much worse before it got better. It was like I had to make that pivotal change in 2022, but over that next year, Jesus took the wheel and was like, absolutely not. This is not the right path, and I'm gonna make sure you know it, and we're gonna steer right back around, and I'm gonna take you down where you need to go. Just because things don't go the way that you planned or intended, those things that you put a lot of faith and hope into, sometimes you need to give it a chance, and it's there to serve you through that period, and then that's it. It's time to move on. Lesson 2 was to really listen and be in tune with your emotions. During this whole thing, I hit the peak of my anxiety. I was having full-blown panic attacks. It was an experience that I haven't actually had before. I always say I've never lived a not stressed, anxious day in my body. I have never felt that relief of just being I don't know, light and airy. However, I never had full-blown panic attacks before. There's a book, Your Body Keeps Score. So your body is trying to protect you from the situations that you're in, and your body knows the things that you don't want to go into or the things that are causing you that stress and will react. It was very much so anything related to the big pivotal thing in my year of career stuff came into play. My body just went haywire. I tried to really just suppress it, and it only got intensified as I kept going. To be completely honest, back to point 1, if the universe and God didn't intervene, I would have just kept going, would have continued in that cycle. So I'm glad that all of that happened, because I had to take a step back to pay attention, and now I'm more conscious of if it happens and why it's happening. Keep a check on what those triggers that are causing the stress and anxiety, because your body is literally reacting because it knows that you're going into a situation that isn't, something that you're excited about. Or your body's first alert to let you know that's the thing that's causing you that issue. Your career doesn't define you. This has been my biggest struggle over the last several years now. It's not something that was new to me this year, but it's been a slow build-up. Probably the whole progression of my career, and I think it's also a generational cultural thing at this point. We as millennials are burning ourselves out doing the most in our careers and not getting the things that we thought we were going to get along with it. And so much of our self-worth ends up being tied to it, like especially here in America and the culture of work. It's just like who you are is defined by what you do, whereas so many other places in the world it's not. It's just literally your paycheck. I totally like know that it's not something that I have so much interest in. I also know that I'm not the type of person that can do something and just like not care about it. I definitely still, you know, want to do a good job and care about like the people that I work with and want everybody to be in a good place. But I have found some level of detachment of like not putting my self-worth into it. I used to definitely just take it home with me and dwell on why I'm not getting promoted or why I'm not being considered for certain things or X, Y, and Z. At this point, like truly for the first time in like probably ever, I'm able to just simply go to work, do what I need to do, and when I come home, I don't think about it at all. Like, I am thinking about a bunch of other stuff, but not that. For me, this was more of a forced situation, and I also understand that I was in a very privileged state when it all happened, which is to take a break. Honestly, the only career that I really can think of is like being a teacher, which y'all need the, the summer vacation, but you also just need to get paid more in general. But aside from like that career, people really don't get a break. You have PTO days and you can take a vacation. That's different. Listen, I love a vacation, but a vacation, you're literally going for a short period of time, and it's one of those things that you're like trying to do as much as you can for enjoyment and relaxation. Like honestly, you're kind of like forcing all of your mental rejuvenation in this little period, but you also know that you have to go back. All of those things are still in the back of your mind. So when I say a break, I definitely mean a more extended break. My break, again, was more of a forced break, and I wouldn't have minded it being longer, to be honest, but I'm also very grateful for like how things worked out for me. Overall, I probably only had 2 months of a break, and it was just so needed. A good chunk of that was just like resting, truly like sleeping in, having slow, cozy days, letting things be. And as soon as like I kind of got a little bit of that done, I had like an instant like hit of creativity, and I got back into things that I really enjoyed doing that I, you know, just never had the energy after work type of stuff to do. It was just like such a moment of clarity for me that like we live in such a hustle culture. We really don't take a beat to just re-center ourselves, even just to like identify like what it's all for, what we actually value out of things. And again, I understand this comes from a very privileged spot. If you're able to and able to do it in a very like restorative way, I highly recommend it. As I mentioned, I love a vacation. Take full advantage of your vacation days, especially if you have PTO. Use it. You are literally getting paid to use it. So use all of your PTO. Work will always be there, but like those moments and experiences that you get to have, those are once in a lifetime. I'm very much in the camp of doing it throughout your life versus waiting for it, because you never know what tomorrow can bring. I'm definitely always going to take the opportunity to go on vacation and take a trip. My highlights of this year were the 3 trips that I took, which I still can't believe I was able to do. I've never regretted a vacation that I've taken, even if they, you know, there were moments or awkwardness or crazy things happening. I've never regretted a vacation that I've taken. Number 6 is to be open to opportunities. This is like one of my like affirmations lately, is like I attract the opportunities that are right for me. During that break period, I really didn't know what was going to be next. I was back and forth between I'm good with having a few months off because I had 2 trips planned. I had a France trip and an Italy trip, and there was like a month in between the two. So I literally started like budgeting and seeing if it would be doable to just do like a 2 to 3 month stint in Europe backpacking, like if I could afford it, because I was like, listen, if nothing comes up, at least I get like a trip of a lifetime. Opportunity one. And B, I was applying to jobs and seeing what could come out of it. So I was still taking interviews and seeing what happened. And then I had a good friend of mine reach out to me saying that she knew something available, and it happened to be a job at the previous place that I had worked. I left that job on my own, and I had such like difficult times there. I was like very much like closed off to that option. So I wasn't really open to the opportunity there, but my friend, being awesome and not taking no for an answer, went ahead and set things in motion. And it's honestly been such a blessing, because I didn't think that I could go back with a positive mindset, but it's been only a positive experience so far. So even when you've, gone through a really bad situation, not holding that to a new opportunity is hard, but definitely opened my eyes to the fact that like things can be different, and each opportunity is a new one, and the right one will find you. I was very okay with it going either way. Either I can be a little bit financially stable with a job, or I can have a great trip in Europe. It's a win-win for me. Moving into relationships a little bit. Spending time with people who you love and care about you. This really was important for me this year, because honestly, like, people really showed out for me during my break time, as we'll call it. It was really just like amazing to see people check up on me and be there as a support system and come through. Me being like the only single person in like most of my friendships and families, it is important to have a community that's supporting you. Making sure that I'm carving out time for the people who are there for me, and investing in those relationships, and really like appreciating the fact that they were there to support me through, tough times, but also there to celebrate with me. On the flip side, the next lesson that I learned was that it is okay to step away from relationships that are no longer serving me. It's always hard to have like a friendship breakup. There's different people for different seasons of your life. Sometimes people come and go from your life, and that's okay. I know I've drawn some energies to myself that, hasn't always served me for the best, and being okay with walking away from those connections has been vital to me, especially this year. And by choosing the people who are investing in you comes protecting your time. I tend to have a personality where it sounds like I'm always available, even whenever I'm like making plans with friends and like everyone's like, oh, when are you available? I'm always the one who's like, well, I'm not doing anything, which is like very untrue, because I feel like I do a lot of things, but I keep myself open to spend time with people I care about. For me, that is more of a priority. I think it's something that can be easily taken advantage of, especially me being like a people pleaser and like conflict avoidant. I will try to do whatever needs to get done to like make things work. This is more something like I've noticed, and I definitely am going to take forward with me into the next year. Number 10 is something that I learned this year, and it's really like helped reframe things for me, because I'm definitely someone who used to feel FOMO quite a bit, and that is the let them theory from Mel Robbins. It's essentially like, if people are hanging out and they didn't invite you, let them. Y'all have a good time. I'm enjoying my day. So, like flipping that script of like the FOMO to JOMO, the joy of missing out, and that really did help put some perspective. It's just enforcing that idea of what's meant for me will be mine, and what's not isn't meant for me. Our next section is something that's been super on my mind, something that I want to, keep a focus on, which is taking care of my health. Between the mental health stuff, I also had some like health stuff this year, mainly realizing I have really bad acid reflux, and I've had a pretty ongoing not healthy lifestyle, I guess you could say. Like I just like yo-yo between my weight. It's not easy keeping on top of it or breaking bad habits, but I am only getting older. I do want to make it a real focus. And I've been doing the 75 soft challenge, which I've mainly posted on my TikTok, which is linked below if you want to check that out. And even there, like it's hard to keep on track of all the things, especially when you're juggling a bunch of things. I know that if I don't set those healthier habits now, it's only going to hurt me in the long run. And I want to feel just good. Like I don't want to ever experience that acid reflux situation again. So that has been a lesson for me, is that if you like just ignore it or like think that if you just put it in the back burner, it's no big deal, like it will catch up with you. And with that, hydration. I'm finally getting better at it. The 75 soft challenge has helped a lot. It was supposed to be like 3 liters a day, and I had to just be realistic and start with 1, and I'm up to like 2.5 now, which is like pretty freaking great for me. I can feel it when I'm hydrated, because I swear my body is completely like, you are dehydrated. So anytime I drink water, I crave more water. And I also have had like really bad heat exhaustion, which has proven that I need to stay hydrated. Another thing that's helped my mental health especially is journaling. Listen, I'm like the most inconsistently consistent person ever, and I can't say that I do it like on a daily, but I try to do it on the daily. I think I've shared this gratitude day and night journal. I like this gratitude a day and night reflection journal in specific because it is a 2-parter for the day. So you started out with some gratitude, an affirmation, a focus for the day, and then you kind of come back in the evening to talk about your big wins and how you felt overall in the day. It's just like nice to have some level of a reflection, and it's so like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like it is a little woo-woo that we're all in this like mental health like woo-woo state. Considering the climate and whatnot that we live in, I think it's very important to have time that is just like focused on gratitude, because it's so easy to just get immersed in all the craziness. And for me, it's more of a like a zone out, especially considering 99% of the day for me is on some form of screen. It just shuts everything off, which is very nice. So the next few are like mindset situations. The first one is speaking kindly about yourself. I definitely have a very all or nothing personality. I've learned through therapy in the past, especially with me and my health situations. Like if I have one bad day of eating, like it's all gone. Or if I don't see the difference on the scale, like what am I doing this for? I can get into that like very negative talk to myself that like I'm not doing anything right. And I feel like I've always kind of had that mentality, and it's not up until more recently that I like noticed it happening. I definitely still struggle a little bit with some of that all or nothing, but I don't think I do as much negative self-talk because I'm trying to be my own hype person. And I think that helps a lot, because if you're not rooting for yourself, then it's like a lost cause. And I'm really, really rooting for myself, but it's very pre-programmed. Your thoughts that have been there for so long that it's hard to like snap out of it. And that's where I think like affirmations can help. I'm still working on finding like the affirmation that like really works for me. The next one is to move at your own pace. There's that quote that is, comparison is a thief of joy. It is brutal, especially now that I'm 32 and I like look around and I'm like, A, totally not where I thought I would be in life. B, I see so many people at my age, and what's sometimes like a real trip is when there's people so much younger who are like crazy ahead, and it's hard to not be like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I have it all figured out and together? And I do feel like there's a part of me that's always felt like I was just, I don't know how to explain it other than like I was just going through the motions. Truly, these last few months of this year that I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I do think it's also important to keep some of your goals and aspirations close to the chest. It is an interesting one because, you know, there's a level of being open and collaborative. I mean, my next video will most likely be about manifesting for 2024. Part of me has thought that if I do speak it out loud, like it's holding me accountable to some degree. So I like will talk about it to make it seem like I will hold myself up to it because I've said it into the world. But I found that that doesn't actually help me a whole lot. This channel is a good example. Like, it was something that I've always wanted to do, but I don't know, there was a part of me that thought it was weird and stupid and like, what if, honestly, like, as much as it is a thing for the public, the idea of people actually watching it does throw me off sometimes. I know that sounds like counterintuitive. If I like had told anybody that I was really doing it from the get-go, I would have psyched myself out. Like, I would never have done it. I'm still figuring it all out, but it was something that I wanted to do. And if I don't do it, I want it to be on my own terms and not letting other people's perceptions get to me. I think it's important to do some things on your own, let yourself figure it out, do it at your own pace, and only if you want to share it. Start over and over and over again. I feel like I've mentioned it so many times now that I go through like phases of things. One reason I do it is because I'm like, why am I not just like good at this thing already? But obviously everything takes practice and like effort. But I do think if it's something that you actually want to do and that you're interested in, that it's better to start over even if it's from scratch, than to not give it a chance at all. A couple examples for me this year was blogging. When I picked it back up this year, when I had that like creative energy again over the summer, I went back to the blog that I had started, and it had been like a whole year, and I noticed that I had that same phasing. I had like, you know, a handful of posts within like a month or two, and then I didn't do anything for a whole year, and then I did that again. And then I was like, oh my god, do I start from scratch? I kind of want to do something a little different than what I was doing, but then also like, what if I just fall off again, etc., etc. And I did change things up a little bit. I kind of am still figuring out my formats, but I found like 2 or 3 things that I'm like really invested in blogging about. Surprisingly kept up with it for the last few months now, and like have things shaped out for the next few months, and like think it's something I can keep going with, and I've enjoyed doing it. Like, I look forward to having the experiences that like I'm writing about. I think it's important that things can like just pick up from where you left off, or if you start from scratch, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's something that you want to do it. And if you feel like your time has passed, it's just simply not true. That ties into number 18, which is finding times for things that just bring you enjoyment. And by that I mean, we're always trying to do things for something, right? Like, I think that's just the culture and society we live in. And listen, I can't deny that either. I feel like a part of me doing this, a part of me doing the like blogging, is I do hope that it picks up in some regard that opens new opportunities. One area that I had thought about in that regard is art. And I always say art because, again, I'm a person with many phases. So sometimes I like to do painting things, sometimes I like to draw, sometimes I like photography. I just love making art. If I was good enough at any singular one of those things, I would probably be more interested in figuring out some professional thing, but I've never quite gotten to that level to be professional. Plus, I feel like thinking about it in that terms, for me at least, puts an added pressure to it and keeps me away from doing it. Because if I'm like, I want to do these amazing pieces of art, then I like don't even start because I psych myself out. Whereas I've taken a bunch of art classes over the last few years, and whenever I take those classes, I can just go for 2 to 3 hours and zone out and have the best time. And it's just pure enjoyment and fun, and it's something that I want to continue doing. For me, that looks like taking an art class every semester. I go to this like local school that offers evening, weekend classes, and it's not like graded, it's just like beginner whatever classes, and truly just for like relaxation, creativity, and fun. And that's all it is. It doesn't have to be a creative thing. For you, it could be like an athletic sport. Could not be me. Whatever it is that brings you that enjoyment, but doing it purely for adding to your life and making you happy and not for a paycheck or proving something. It's truly just for you to enjoy. And that is something I invest my time in. I have learned just over the years that I would much rather invest in things that, things that I won't regret. AKA for me, that's usually experiences. So that's usually vacations, art classes, concerts, like things that I truly enjoy and would never regret doing. This is like a big goal for me is to be better with finances. I feel like fashion trends is one thing, is like I will buy clothes that I think look cute but then don't look cute on me, or I will buy like a bunch of stuff and then never wear it. It's such a stupid thing, but it's definitely like a girl mathing situation. Like, I will buy a bunch of small things that I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad because I bought like 10 different things that were like X amount of money, instead of just investing in that one, I don't know, like furniture item that may have been more expensive but worthwhile. And then those 10 things just sit in my closet for the rest of my life. It is something that I am working on, because I want to toodle that line of like maximist versus minimalist, in the sense of like I want to declutter, but I also want the things that I love to shine. So it's not like I'm trying to live in a white space. I just want to make sure that the things that I have are things that I actually utilize or enjoy, versus just like getting things because I saw it on a TikTok, which I need to stop doing. Okay, we're almost done. If you've made it this far, thank you so much, and please like this video and subscribe, and if you would like, share it with somebody. These next few kind of tie into some things we mentioned, but like, man, did they hit me this year. Number 20 is to not take things personally. During that break period for me, I read the 4 agreements, and this is one of them. Honestly, all 4 of them are great. This one specifically really spoke to me, because taking things personally is something that I just like do, and it's so hard not to. And the worst is that I like nitpick a simple message that somebody sent with like literally no intention behind it. I will like pick apart and be like, well, why did they say it like this? I literally will go into a deep doodle hole for no reason. It really was a huge part of my anxiety, is because I like would take things personally that really wasn't personal. I catch myself still doing it every now and then, but it is so much better than it used to be. It's a work in progress. A lot of these are. Honestly, nobody is thinking about you as much as you are. Like, nobody is putting that much effort and time into it. Even if they did, like, their opinion of you is their opinion of you, and your own opinion of yourself is what truly matters. This next one is to not force things. I actually started this channel with like a whole like dating your 30s series, which spoiler alert, nothing has changed. She is still single as a Pringle. And it's a double-edged sword in this whole, like, don't force things, because to one extent, like, you have to put in the effort if you want to see any kind of residual. However, I think it's very okay. If I know it's not right, like, it's not right. Because, like, I've definitely had conversations with people where it's like, you know, you have to at least be open and, like, give people the opportunity, give people a chance. And, like, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I need to get better with that. But I also do think that if you feel that something is off, or you're not feeling a connection, for example, it's okay. And you can, you know, respectfully walk away from the situation. Yes, you have to put in the effort and work at things. However, if it's meant to be, it shouldn't feel like you have to go out of your way to do the work. Like, you should feel like you want to do it, not that you're, like, trying to make the situation into whatever it is you're trying to do. That clearly came with the whole dating situation this year. I put in some effort, but I felt like all of my residuals were just, like, not what I was trying to catch. And I definitely am still figuring all of that stuff out. I'm very okay with the things that didn't work out not working out. My phrase for this year was to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And as much as I had uncomfortable situations, I didn't really, like, get out of my comfort zone a whole lot. Like, I had some some rough patches, but not necessarily, like, me going out of my way to be uncomfortable. However, I do feel like I have gotten closer to being the most authentic version of me, and I'm still, like, working on it and getting there. Lesson 22 is to be unapologetically myself. It's so easy to put on a front. It's a work in progress. Like, different people require different things. But to always have, like, an authentic version of myself show up is important to me. Listen, I wish that I was the life of the party, or, like, the, you know, like, the cool girl type of situation. I'm not. I'm, like, not, especially in a crowd, I'm not it. Like, I will be in a corner giggling, or in, like, I don't even know what conversation to pay attention to, because there's, like, one over here and one over there, and it's just, like, stimulation overload. So, like, I am not great in big group settings. I'm pretty good with, like, my small group friends, which is usually what I do, and it is where I thrive in, like, small group settings, or one-on-ones even better. I think I am getting to a point where I am more comfortable with just showing up as me in whatever version that is, versus, like, forcing myself to think about what I should be doing and just showing up regardless. It is, again, another work in progress. And the last one is one that I think we can all take away as a lesson learned, and a lesson to carry forward, is to simply be kind. I know it was a rough year for me, so people showing up really, really helped me. But I also know that for me, it's super hard to talk about things. I'll hold things very close to the chest. And, like, you know, there are people that I know that I can talk to about it, but it's also very hard to talk about difficult things. And we live in a very curated culture, and it's weird and unhealthy, and it just is the culture we live in. People are going through all different kinds of things in their personal lives, whether they share it or not. And the world is in a very strange spot, and things are just constantly happening, that it's very, very hard to, like, stay positive. And we're in the middle of the holidays, which, as much of a celebration as it is for a lot of people, can also be an incredibly lonely time for others. I honestly think that showing up and being kind, showing support and love, is what gets us through tough times. So, especially in this season of the holidays and life in general, try to pay it forward. Even if you're going through it, sometimes paying kindness forward ends up being a blessing for yourself as well. And with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you resonated, or there are things that you can take away as things you want to focus on. But I would love to hear some of the lessons that stuck out for you this year. Well, you know, ones that I mentioned or your own. Thank you so much for watching again. Until next time, bye!
Maybe it's too soon, yeah, you know we just met. What I got to lose, gonna send the address.